Criminal couples, the most nefarious unions in history.
They say you shouldn't mix business with pleasure. But for these couples, it's hard to determine which was which. Some shared an intense love for each other, and others simply shared an obsession.
Bonnie and Clyde.
This outlaw couple are responsible for one of the best-known crime sprees in history. Between 1932 and 1934, they traveled the southern U.S. states allegedly killing 13 people, including several police officers, committing many robberies and kidnappings, and even breaking 5 criminals out of jail. They were eventually ambushed by police in Louisiana and shot on sight.
The Lonely Hearts Killers.
Raymond Martinez began scanning the Lonely Hearts ads in the newspapers in search of vulnerable women to scam. He started by stealing their money after gaining their trust, but quickly moved on to murder. His third intended victim was Martha Beck, but the pair ended up falling in love and continued his scheme together. She posed as his sister while he enticed lonely women to hand over their money. The pair robbed and killed several women, and even one child, before being caught in 1949. They were both sentenced to death by electric chair.
The Moors Murderers.
Myra Hindley and Brady were responsible for the abduction, torture, sexual assault, and murder of 3 minors. They buried the bodies of their victims in the desolate Saddleworth Moors in England, which is how they gained their name. Myra Hindley was famously the first convicted female serial killer in Britain. This haunting photo of her became iconic.
The Natural Born Killers.
19-year-old Charles Starkweather committed his first murder when a gas station attendant refused to let him buy a gift on credit for his 14-year-old girlfriend, Carol Ann Fugate. The following month, Starkweather killed Fugate's parents and 2-year-old sister. The pair went on a week-long crime spree that would leave 10 people dead. They were captured by police at the end of their road trip in Wyoming in January 1958. Their crimes were immortalized in several songs and movies, the best known being Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers, released in 1994. Stirring great controversy, the director has been accused of glorifying the crimes. At least 8 copycat murders have been linked to the movie.
Fred and Rose West.
The Wests are responsible for the most horrific string of murders ever committed by a couple in Britain. Their downfall began with a missing persons investigation for one of their daughters in 1994. Police obtained a warrant to search their house and found the bodies of 2 young women buried under the porch. One of the bodies belonged to their daughter, Heather. The house on 25 Cromwell Street West would come to be known as the House of Horrors. Fred West admitted to committing further crimes and showed the police where he had buried 12 more bodies in his basement, as well as the locations of his other victims. He was convicted for the brutal sexual assault and murder of 12 women. And Rose West was convicted for 10 murders. It's believed that the pair are likely guilty of many more crimes that haven't been discovered yet.
Daniel and Manuela Ruda.
Self-proclaimed vampires and Satanists Daniel and Manuela Ruda were convicted of a horrific murder in 2002. The German couple claimed to drink blood and sleep in coffins. Manuela requested the trial be carried out in dim lighting due to her sensitivity to light. In 2001, they lured their colleague to their apartment, where they hit him with a hammer and stabbed him 66 times. In court, they said they were simply following orders after the devil commanded them to send him souls. Daniel Ruda was sentenced to 15 years and Manuela to 13 years in prison, followed by an undetermined period in a psychiatric facility. Psychologists diagnosed both killers with narcissistic personality disorders. They divorced while behind bars and have both since been released from prison.
Gang of Amazons.
In this unbelievable tale of violence, Russian couple Inessa Taverdiyeva and Roman Podkopayev allegedly turned their family into a murderous crime gang. Taverdiyeva was a nursery school teacher and Podkopayev was a dentist. The pair, along with Taverdiyeva's daughters Victoria and Anastasia, were responsible for murdering up to 30 people, including several police officers, security guards, and homeowners. Large amounts of money, gold jewelry, and weapons were found in their home. Podkopayev's sister Anastasia Sinelnik and her police officer husband Sergei were also accomplices. They helped to hide the crimes and Sergei provided inside information about the investigation. All were arrested for their crimes, except Podkopayev, who was shot dead by police. Anastasia Taverdiyeva was a minor at the time of the murders.
San Bernardino shooters.
In 2015, local health inspector Syed Rizwan Farouk attended a holiday party with his colleagues. He left the party and shortly returned with his wife, Tashfeen Malik. They opened fire on the crowd and killed 14 people. A further 22 people were injured. The couple escaped in a black SUV, which was later spotted by the police. During the pursuit, Farouk fired at the police from the car while his wife drove. They were eventually shot and killed by the officers. Farouk and Malik were responsible for one of the deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history. According to family and friends, the pair were not extremists and had no ties to terrorist organizations. But they reportedly declared allegiance to the Islamic State on Facebook the day of the attack.
Craig Pritchard and Nova Guthrie.
Lightning struck when a failed baseball player met a sorority girl from a fundamentalist Christian family. They wanted a taste of the high life, and soon took off on a spree of daring bank robberies across the United States. By the end of the 90s, they left the country with more than $500,000 in cash and a spot on the FBI's most wanted list. They traveled the world, scuba diving in the tropics and skiing in the best resorts, until they settled down in Cape Town, South Africa. The FBI tracked him down and worked with South African authorities to capture the couple and extradite him to the US. They're known as the modern-day Bonnie and Clyde.
Wolfgang and Helene Beltracchi.
Self-described hippie Wolfgang Beltracchi, along with his wife Helen, carried out the largest art fraud in history. Wolfgang was a self-taught artist who had an incredible skill for imitating the style of famous painters. Slowly over time, he began to make money with counterfeit works he created, and became bolder and bolder. When he met his wife Helen in 1992, she became his art dealer and sold his works for incredible prices. One counterfeit Max Ernst painting was sold for $7 million United States dollars. It's estimated that the couple made approximately $22 million United States dollars with their scheme. Until they were caught in 2010. An expert noticed traces of modern paint on a supposed classic. Soon a series of counterfeit paintings had been uncovered and traced back to the Beltracchis.
Well, that's all, folks.
That's my line.
Step aside, babe. Let a star do this. That's all!